Hey you all, my name is Dreamy and today we're going to be going over how to do a private, what to say in them, the body movements and the things that you'll do, the things that you'll need, the difference between Chaturbate and Myfreecams, and I'm just going to kind of go over all of it. I'm even going to put on a bathing suit over my clothes and kind of just show you what I do and what I say and break down like a 10-minute private. So first things first is what is the difference between streaming on Chaturbate and streaming on Myfreecams? If you're coming here and you're like, Dreamy, I don't even know how to set up a private for Chaturbate, I have a video of how to use Chaturbate as a cam model, and I go over all of that in that video, so you can go to my channel and look for that. I don't have one on Myfreecams unfortunately yet, but Chaturbate. So I charge 120 tokens per minute for a 10-minute minimum private and then they're allowed to spy into the private at 54 tokens, which that is the highest you can go, which I think is bullshit, but it is what it is. So yeah, they have to at least spend 10 minutes with me. So if you have 300 people in your room, you've worked really hard to get 300 people as like a viewership in your room. And you don't have a certain minimum amount of private. Someone can take you to private for 1 minute and then you lose almost all your viewership. And you didn't even get a good amount of money for even losing that. Now you're having to start over. Maybe now you only have 100 people in your room and you're having to regain that viewership. So if I'm going to go to private, I'm going to I'm going to be getting over at least 1,000 tokens for it. End of story. Now, the thing with Myfreecams is that you cannot set a 10-minute minimum. They have two options for privates. They have a 60 token private and then they have an 80 token private, which is considered a true private. So the 60 token privates allow other people to be able to pop into the private and be able to spy. A true private means that they will not be able to do that. It's just going to be you and your paying customer. So with Myfreecams, I do have a pre-tip. So before we even go to private, we are tipping 400 tokens just because I can't control how long we stay in private. So at least at minimum, I'm getting 400 in case they bail. If they bail early on the 10 minutes, I lifetime ban them. You're never allowed back in. So that usually honestly does not happen to me, especially with when I've added the pre-tip, but it can happen. It's disrespectful if you say that you're going to follow through with something. I expect for you to follow through because it's the energy I would give back to you and I want it in return. So yeah, so it's a 400 token pre-tip. It is a 10-minute minimum at 80 tokens true private. On both sites, I will watch their cam for free if we're in private. I just personally enjoy it. I like to watch them enjoying themselves, and it's kind of just visually entertaining for me. Now, if they're like, well, I want you to role play as like a nurse, so I'm having to put on stockings, I'm having to change my outfit, that is going to be a pre-tip on a 500 token pre-tip on Chaturbate, and it's going to be a 900 token pre-tip on Myfreecams because we already have that 400. I'm adding on 500 to having to like change my outfit. Now, if they're like, oh, well, I want an oil show and or I want, you know, sloppy toppy, I want it all over your face and dripping down your body, that's fine. 1,000 token pre-tip on Chaturbate, and that's going to be a 1,400 token pre-tip on Myfreecam. So I don't have washer and drying unit. Oil's so messy. I usually have to like sometimes hop in the shower after or really wipe down good. I got to use a lot of towels. Same with like, you know, a sloppy, you know what. If they're wanting like spit everywhere, it's just messy and you're gonna pay for the inconvenience. You're gonna pay for the time it's gonna have to take me after the private to clean up. I'm not gonna be able to just hop back online. So yeah, they're tipping for everything. And even if it's like you're in the middle of the private and they want you to do something that you feel like is extra within like your boundaries, just go ahead and say it. They'll yay or nay you, and it's okay. I think it's good to talk about money. I usually try, if someone wants a private, I usually like to message and talk to them first, before we go into private. That way we're not wasting tokens and time. It is nice to do that sometimes because it's just like free extra tokens, but also like, you know, we're all out here, everything's expensive, we all work hard for our money, so I'm not trying to waste your time and your money, and especially if we end up just not even vibing and then I'm having to end the private. If now there are days where it's like it's super slow, someone clicks on a private and you're like, yes. You know, it's like yes, or you may have a lot of people wanting to go to private and you're like, first come first serve, whoever wants to go to private right now, start it. And then sometimes I will definitely start to like be all cute and flirty and ask them what they would like. And if usually things are fine, they just want like kind of like the basic. But if someone is a little bit more kinky and I don't do that, I will ask them if they want to continue. And if they say no, um, I'll go ahead and end that. And if they say yes, we can do something else, then we'll totally just continue and move on. Sometimes you go into a private and you start it, and that person doesn't say anything to you. They don't say nada. You ask them what they would like, and then they don't say anything. So you type it because you're like, maybe they don't have sound. They don't say anything. All right. Don't get offended by it. All right. They're hard at work. Okay, they're hard at work. Just start doing your thing. Just start doing your thing. They're paying for it. You're getting money. It's okay if they don't want to talk to you. That's their experience, so we're just going to honor it. Now, the things that you will need. The best thing that you can do is go to Home Depot, and I want you to go to the tile area. And I want you to find something that's nice and smooth and has that's not too large. I like the rectangle because it slides easy in between the legs. You'll get 2 of them for $10. And the only thing you want to be mindful of is obviously the corners. I mean, this is like a quartz or like a granite. It is a stone, so just be careful. But I've never had any problems. You can always stick the toy on and then put a towel around if you like. That just kind of seems to get in my way personally. But like I said, I've never had a problem. I've done butt to cam, I've done yoni to cam, I've done quite a few positions on this thing, and it always hangs on quite well. If things get slippery during private, it's okay, just stop, wipe it up. It's all right. This is live, this is real life. We don't have to be so aesthetically pleasing. And also, if you want to continue to give them like a good show, you want to like wipe that base off and then restick, and then you'll be able to continue without as many interruptions, because if you don't do that, it's just going to keep coming off, and it's a whole annoying. You'll want to, this is my crochet hook, but I think we can use our imagination on what this is. Hopefully a little girthier, but whatever your preference is. So you want your toy, you can have your vibrator, you can have something that's going to work as penetration. If you don't want to do penetration, it's that time of the month. That's definitely something I talk about before I go to private. So if it's that time of the month, we have to have a consultation of like, hey, just to let you know, I can't do penetration right now. Do you still want to continue? Most of the time, honestly, sometimes I make my most money when I'm on my period. People still don't care. They still want to take me to private. It definitely is way more than penetration, so don't get too much in like a lack mindset about that. I get serious cramps from continuing to do penetration or even have orgasms while I'm on my period, so I definitely steer away from that, just because I mean it's definitely like a privilege to be able to, because it is like a week of worth of work that's kind of not being able to perform at what we usually can just based on our bodies, but do whatever is comfortable for you. Next one is baby wipes. Love my baby wipes. I'm a baby wipe girly stan. I love them. I think this one is scented, but I usually get unscented for sensitive. Get them when they have like a good deal going on, like 2 for $3. Baby wipe before, baby wipe after, I baby wipe all the time. If someone wants to do like a spread or anything, especially if I've been streaming for a while, like hold on, let me go wipe, let me go make sure everything's okay. It's a great way to just like if you've had a long day and you know you got to put in a few hours streaming at the end of the day just to wipe down your body. I love baby wipes. I just love it. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my lingerie here. This is just a bathing suit, YouTube. A bathing suit. A bathing suit. And we are going to, I'm going to show you exactly what I do. Another thing that I got, because I stream off of my laptop, so I don't have like an external camera on a tripod, is I got like this music stand, which allows me to adjust the height of everything, but also like you don't want to be, I mean, you can. I did it for a while and it was fine, but I don't want to have my computer on the bed when I'm bouncing up and down, you know, doing my thing. And the computer's shaking while I do it. So this is like a nice base to set your computer on, your tripod on, your camera on, whatever you're streaming off of, and it allows it to stay just, you know, not bouncing around, and you get a good stream. I do allow on Myfreecams. I think Myfreecams does it automatically. I don't even think they give you a choice, but on Myfreecams and CB, I do allow the people who take me to private to get a recording of their private. So just keep that in mind. It's you know, they're paying for it. They pay for the time. I don't mind if they go back and enjoy it. You don't have to do that, but I have noticed that a lot of people will not go to private with me if they do not get the recording. I'm not saying that because to put you like in a mindset where you're not going to get privates, but just be something that's like open to, especially if you're charging like quite a bit. Like I don't think I'm charging that much, so if you are like, nah girl, not at 120, I feel you, do your thing. But I've worked myself up to 120. I didn't always start on that. I give myself raises every 6 months within my tip menu, my privates, and my Skype sessions. So if you feel like 120 is too high, you're like, no one's going to want to do that with me right now, I don't even feel comfortable charging that. Like, definitely charge whatever you're comfortable for. I'm not into price shaming when it comes to sex work because, you know, someone who has a $3 OnlyFans can be making the same amount of money as someone who has like a $20 one. So it's no judgment at all. So do whatever's comfortable for you. I just want you to be able to use this a little as a guide and how to maneuver going forward. Another thing being said is I'm very sub. I like sub talk. I can be dom unless they specify. I like to do CEI. I like to do joy. I like to do SPH. If you don't know what those are, I don't want to say too much in this video just because I'm already doing quite risque things, but Google it. But there's going to be terminologies that are going to come forward to you in private, some people's kinks, and it's okay, just do some research on it. Like if you're like, hey, I don't know a lot about that, be honest. And if you are trying something new, ask them like, what type of verbiage do you like, especially if they're into SPH, which is more of a humiliation kink. Like ask them like, what type of things do you like to be said to you? Like I think that's totally okay to open up that conversation. That way boundaries are being met. So with that being said, just me moving forward into actually demonstrating what I do in the movements and things that I say, feel free to edit those things into a way that feels more dom or whatever you're into. So BRB. Okay. So here I am. We started the private. I've moved the camera down onto the tripod. And I am going to get up and I'm going to give them a whole view. Like, I'm going to thank them and say, you know, thank you for getting me, you know, all to yourself and wanting me all to yourself. And we're going to show off our body. This is a good time, if you haven't asked, to ask them what they would like to see and just be very flirty, touching your body. This is a 10-minute private, so we're going to take our time. We're not going to do full penetration the full 10 minutes. No way. No way. All right, and we're just going to show off. We're going to show them the back. We can ask them how they like the view. Shake, twerk, do our thing. You can let them know how good you're about to make them feel. I think staring at the camera is really important, just like right at the camera. Try not to look at yourself because it does create, I think, a more intimate moment. And, you know, they like to, you know, people want to feel seen, and we're being vulnerable with our bodies right now. So this is a point where you can stay dressed or you can take off. I go ahead and take off. I'll let you all know when there's another point where you can take off if you don't want to get nude too soon. So I'm going to slowly untie, lift off, and this is when I'm going to walk up to the camera and I'm going to give them like a close-up view of everything. I'm going to give them an angle shot, do a little shaky, a little bounce, be a little playful, you know, ask them, tell them that how bad, like, you wish they were here to help play with your girls, or, you know, nibble or suck. I just hope this doesn't get copyrighted. So yeah, let them, you know, tell them how good their member may look in between them, or how good they would probably look bouncing on top of them. Okay, so take your time with that. And then this is when you're gonna come over. Well, at least I do. And I usually have it a lot closer. I'll like bend the camera down and really get my butt into the whole frame of the camera while I do this, but I'm not going to on that. So anyway, I'm going to give them a view while I undo. And because I had drawstrings, it's just going to fall. Now, if you have, you know, regular undies, I just take them, look back, turn, and bend down, and let them just kind of like slide off. Sometimes I like to slingshot the undies at the camera. And it's kind of just fun. Privates don't have to be so serious, and you know, they can be like pretty playful. This is like a great thing if you don't know what to say. Just kind of just like, do you like my body? Do you like my fat ass? You can just like affirm things about yourself. I promise they're gonna say yes. All right. You can ask them things like, what are you thinking about doing to me right now? Like, get their own imagination going. All right. And at this point, I'm naked. Okay. We're probably about 2.5, 3 minutes, maybe starting to hit 3 minutes into the private. And this is where I'm going to turn around and I'm going to get really close to the cam, and I'm probably going to twerk and make my butt clap. And I'm going to say things like, don't you wish this was on you? Or don't you wish that I was dancing in front of you, stripping? Like, could you imagine how much fun we would have? And if I was there, like stuff like that. So that's like a great thing to be able to do. And then we're going to move on. I'm going to now climb up onto the bed. I'm going to readjust this. Please, that my dog's not in frame. She's quiet, so we're going to leave her. Now, this is when your handy dandy tile comes in. All right. And this is when our crochet hook comes in, our, you know, crochet hook that looks like something else, okay? This is when we're sticking it. Now, this is a great time, like if you're still dressed, that's totally fine. Still stay dressed if you don't want to get naked just yet. This is a good point where you can get naked if you want, but this is when we're going to do some sloppy toppy, all right? And you notice I'm on all fours. I'm about to be face down, ass up. So you're going to be getting the view of my butt at an elevated position. But then you're going to also have my pretty face near the cam being full and stuffed and, you know, making gawk gawk 3000 noise. So I like to spend like take my time on this, and I like to get quite sloppy. This is a great thing again. Just say the things that you're doing if you're insecure about dirty talk. I think dirty talk is great, okay? Dirty talk, they love it. Dirty talk is when you get good at it, you may not even have to go into penetration to a private because they're going to release soon. By the way, if they do release soon, and sometimes it'll say like 2 people are in this room, now there's only one. Sometimes there is an internet like connection problem. Just stay online. I stop what I'm doing, I'll ask them, are you still in here? Sometimes they come back. Sometimes it's just like they release soon and they're gone. But the great thing about CBs, even if they leave the room, you're still getting that 10 minutes of time. So I'll just go and clean up. I do still come back and check because what if it was an internet problem? Like I want to be able to come back and give them the private, but usually, they're gone. But also remember that they're still getting recording in that private, so don't do anything that you wouldn't want them to see. I usually just start cleaning up, or I'll just like sit on my phone. Okay, so yeah, we did the sloppy toppy, the gawk gawk 3000. We're face down, ass up. We're definitely like a little over the 5-minute stretch here, okay? We took about 2.5 minutes to undress, tease. We took about like a minute, 45 seconds twerking. Now we've kind of like did some sloppy toppy for maybe a minute and a half, sometimes 2. So we're hitting like a little over the 5-minute. Now this is a great time where if you were dressed, you can lift up, show off that beautiful body of yours, and that's when you can take the bikini top off. Okay, you can turn around and slide the undies down, looking right at the camera, giving them like a view. And then this is a great time to lay back and fondle yourself, play with yourself. Do the whole thing with yourself. Yeah, that would be great. Even if you just do it for like another minute. You can take away sloppy toppy time to warm up your yoni, especially if you're about to do penetration. Lube is my best friend. I don't care if they see me squeeze lube on the dildo. I don't care anything. I'm always going to use lube. It just makes the experience really comfortable, and sometimes I have a lot of privates in one day. That's just like no way that I'm not going to be using lube. So I don't stress too much about that. But anyway, you can lay back, you can fondle yourself, you can play. And by now we should be about at the last 3 minutes of the private, okay? Now you can set a timer on this too. Don't do things within your boundaries, okay? Just make sure that you're doing whatever's comfortable. So the great thing about after sloppy toppy, after playing with yourself, whatever, you can even play with yourself first and then do the sloppy toppy, because then now we have like our little tray here. The toy is nice and wet from the sloppy toppy. Hopefully you're nice and wet from the foreplay fondling. And that's when we can swing around, or we can stay facing the camera. You can ask, especially if there's like 3 minutes left. And we'll start to do penetration. And I'm not gonna do those movements for you. But that's when we'll start to do penetration. Now, most of the time, like 10-minute minimum doesn't mean the private's done in 10 minutes. Like they may continue to keep you. Now, if they continue to keep you and you're like, okay, girl, I've been doing penetration now for quite a while. I'll do it for about like 5-6 minutes, okay? About 5. And if they still have me in a private, I'll usually stop, turn around, and, again, sloppy toppy. I'll say things like, wow, I taste so good on you. Like, oh my gosh, I got you so creamy. Or, whoa, look at the mess I made. Okay, so that's just, and then you can do Gawk Gawk 3000 for another minute or two. and then you can go back to fondling yourself, or you can go back to twerking for a little bit, take a little break from penetration. Then you can go back to penetration, do a different position. Okay, you might have done doggy on that last one, so let's do missionary. Missionary is nice because you're on your back. Oops, I'm sorry. You're on your back. And it's a little more relaxing. It's a great view for the camera too, to have it like nice close up. So yeah, just take your time. If they are rushing you into penetration, just be like, hey, like I do these 10-minute shows according to what I feel comfortable and what my content's worth. Like, we'll get to penetration, but we'll get there when I'm ready. And if they have a problem with that, like SOL, like I'm not stopping the private because of that. You know, I am going to give you what you want, but it's going to be like on my terms. I usually don't have people who are too pushy about that, but I have had to check people just like, hey, like we're going to get to penetration, but you're not getting full penetration for 10 minutes. Like that's just like, you can tip an extra 1,000 tokens if that's what you want, and I'll definitely get to penetration right now. But I do think there's boundaries within that. If they're really rushing you for penetration and it's been like 5 minutes and you haven't done the sloppy toppy, or maybe you've done the sloppy toppy and you haven't really like played with yourself, that's totally fine too. Go into penetration, especially if they're like a regular customer. Some people really like, that's what they're like paying you to see. So I don't feel like that's like too much asking about the 5-minute mark. If they're like still like kind of like, okay, can we get to penetration? That's totally fine. The last thing that I want to talk about is extending your privates. Okay, just because they came, do not stop. Okay, they might have came and they might have been like, wow, you're so good, that was amazing. I want you to still be flirting with that camera. I want you to still be playing with yourself. I want you to still be like rubbing and being flirty and shaking. I want you to be cleaning up the toy and the mess that you made, and you know, being like how good it tastes. And because you would be surprised how much people will be like, whoa, you're kind of making me stand up again. And then you have another private and you just double your profit. Okay? So do not sleep on that. Do not stop flirting with the camera. Do not stop doing these things until they've actually ended it, because I promise you, you will be surprised how many people will go in for a second round. Okay? Will it be another 10 minutes? Sometimes. Sometimes it's just like another 5, but it's still, you know, that's another at least $50 in your account, and it's a pretty good turnover. You can easily get a solid 200 from maybe like 20 minutes, 15 minutes of work. And you'd be surprised that some people will tip during the private because they just enjoy how much they're enjoying you. So look at my dog. Oh, that's her ear. I thought that was her lip. Okay. That's it. I had to remake this video because my sound wasn't working on the last one. And I just did a tarot reading too, so I have to redo the tarot reading. But that's okay. I really wanted to make this for you all. I really hope it doesn't get copyrighted. Please, if there's something that you feel like I should know that I can be more educated on, please comment down below. If you have any additional like verbiage or things that you like to use, like comment down below. Please let the comment section act as a forum for other sex workers that they can go to for ideas. And yeah, I just want you all to feel comfortable. I love privates. I love sex work. I think that practicing all of this and getting uncomfortable, it's totally normal. It's good to practice being sexual with yourself because it just taps you in. Now I love dirty talk. I used to be so insecure, but now like I want you to tell me everything. I think it's so hot. I feel more comfortable on it. So just remember, it's all practice. It just takes practice. It just takes getting uncomfortable with yourself, and you'll be surprised how turned on you get. Or you may be surprised like, whoa, I was like really into that. So it's fun learning yourself in that way. So Okay, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.